welcome back to my channel. I am Coach Michelle Mills and I am an eczema coach. I help people heal eczema naturally. And I wanted to start off this video by just describing some of the things that you might be feeling. So, do you feel so itchy that it feels like your nerves are just being like provoked? Like, I had really severe eczema in 2017 and it was growing rapidly. And I remember I was so itchy all the time that if someone merely just like tickled me, it was like the sensitivity and the nerves in my skin were just that sensitive that I couldn't take it and I would like start crying. And that's something that actually happened to me. Or like, I remember I had to take off, I was like getting changed to go out and go do something, and I had taken off a shirt, and in like just the process of getting changed was so much that my eczema started flaring. Also, I was at a point where at night I would wake up on the dot, like every single night at like 2 a.m. and I would just be so severely itchy. And I have all of the tips to help you guys through this. That's basically what I do, is I help people get past all of these places of suffering with eczema and into a place where your skin can heal really fast. My eczema actually ended up healing rapidly once I got on the right track. And so I have tons of tips and tricks. So make sure to keep watching this video. I'm gonna just expose a lot of these tips for you guys for how I was able to heal my eczema naturally, but also quickly. When I would wake up in the middle of the night with really, really itchy skin, I would take a milk thistle and a glycine. And I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. All I know is that it worked. I also would eat oatmeal. I would wake up, go downstairs, and make oatmeal in the middle of the night to get that itching to stop, because it was just that severe. And it was the worst to just wake up from sleep, and sleep being one of the most healing things for your eczema, and that get disturbed was just, it was the worst feeling ever. And you also just feel sick, you feel bad, you know, you're losing sleep and you're just so itchy. But if I were to go back and tell myself what to do based on what I know now, a lot of times a lot of times it's a histamine issue at night, but that's not necessarily true. There are a lot of factors as to why you might be itchy at night, and some of it's actually uncontrollable, but I have lots of tips for you to get it under control. One thing that happens is our surface body temperature will rise. A change in temperature is actually something that can cause the itch scratch cycle. So essentially the itch scratch cycle is when you get triggered by something to itch, then you scratch, and then it actually makes it more likely for you to get even more itchier. So it's like this terrible cycle. And so something that can actually get the itch to get going is that change in body temperature. So having a fan on at night might be really useful for you. Another thing that happens is your skin actually loses moisture at night. So you could have a humidifier in your room, or you could actually layer your moisturizers so that you're locking in moisture. So what to do for this is, after a shower, you have water on your skin, which is great. Your skin is moisturized. And what you can do is put a thin layer of something like moringa oil on, and then put something even thicker on top of that to keep everything in place. So whether it's, some people use Vaseline. I don't know how I feel about Vaseline. Other people use Aquaphor. This is actually the eczema soothing balm. This is something that my business partner and I put together. I'm actually the only one selling these now. My business partner is no longer running her business, Plant-Based Beauty. So I am selling these, which is exciting. I have some that need to be shipped out. But this could actually be something that does a little bit of both. It will, instead of putting the 2 layers on, you can just put this on. It has borage oil in it. It has shea butter, so it has that thickness to it. And so that could be used as well for you to lock in your moisture at night. It's actually something that I use to slug with. If you're familiar with skincare on the face, you will basically slather your face in something very thick so that your face stays moisturized overnight. So I actually use that to slug with as well. And I actually formulated this myself. Like, I picked out every single ingredient on purpose. So I'm just gonna go through that really quickly just so you are aware. Prickly pear oil is actually the first ingredient. And this is because there is research that is talking about how prickly pear oil can actually repair eczema skin, which is amazing. And that has been infused with dried chamomile. There's shea butter in here, aloe vera, borage oil, and chamomile essential oil, and all of it is organic. Aloe is something that soaks into the skin as well. So this is why this does both. It will go in and it stays on top. So anyway, with that being said, that would be another thing that I would do at night. Now, I did mention that a histamine issue would be something that you could be dealing with at night. And one thing to do for this is take beef kidney supplements. I would actually take those about an hour before bed so that you are creating an enzyme. It's called a DAO enzyme, and beef kidney can actually increase the production of this enzyme, which breaks down histamines. Another thing you can do to cool down your skin while you're sleeping is to take glycine. Glycine actually helps regulate our body temperatures, and it's just overall really great for sleep. So I highly recommend taking a glycine supplement before bed. Stress is also something that can affect us during sleep, and stress actually causes eczema. Stress is like the #1 root cause. We can do everything right as far as diet and supplements, but when it comes to stress, that's kind of the catalyst that starts the entire chain of events down to eczema and so many other issues like migraines and other health issues, heart attacks, all of it. So what I also recommend doing is right before bed, I would do a meditation, just 15 minutes. I would either journal and talk about everything that went on in your day that's maybe sitting in your brain, or I would think about it. So one thing I did last night was I laid down for 15 minutes and I let myself process the day. It was a very busy day for me, and when we are not processing during the day and we're not resting and letting things get processed, that will start to happen at night when you finally want to rest. So to get a more restful night, I would just let everything process. Just sit there and just like run through your day. Don't really hold on to anything, just go through it, process it, then maybe move on to a meditation or do some breath work. So this is actually one really fun breathing technique that I think is really great for eczema. So basically you start by, I'm just gonna demonstrate with you, and you can either do it with me or you can just watch me and laugh at me doing this, but I wanna show you this breathing technique. So you start by this, and then you're gonna go a little bit faster. You do this longer than I'm doing it, but I just wanted to demonstrate it. Then you're gonna move into, then you speed it up. Then you're gonna take one huge deep breath in, hold it, and then let it all out, and then you hold it. Now this isn't for everybody, and you should probably be following a video for this, because I know people through pregnancy shouldn't be holding their breath. So, but I would look up just breath work and experiment with different types of breathing. That one that I just did is really great for nervous system regulation. So if you are somebody who is dealing with a lot of nervous system issues where you feel like you're just an extra sensitive person, or you've been through some sort of trauma, or you're just not processing things very well, doing something like that can really help regulate your nervous system. I don't know if you ever knew this, but different parts of your body will actually mean different root causes depending on where you have it. And this is super interesting, so let's go through it. If you have eczema around your mouth and on your eyelids and in any of your skin folds, that is candida. Sometimes you will just have it around the mouth, that is candida. If you are developing eczema like on your cheeks or on your chest, on the neck as well, this is more so going to be a medication withdrawal like Protopic or a steroid withdrawal. Now, if you have it in the folds of your neck, this is more so candida. If you have something that kind of runs from your thumb up your arm, it's called red sleeve. This is indicative of TSW or topical steroid withdrawal. But if you have hand eczema, this is likely candida. You can also treat hand eczema with the eczema soothing balm. Borage oil is really great for hand and foot eczema, but a lot of times that has to still do with candida. Candida, it doesn't necessarily have to be candida. Most of the time it is candida, but it is low stomach acid and some sort of gut issue. There's actually tons of different gut issues that could cause eczema. There is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and this is called SIBO. And on the Ultimate Eczema Food Guide, I actually have a section that goes through hydrogen sulfide SIBO. There are 3 different types of SIBO: hydrogen sulfide, and methane SIBO, and it's basically this bacteria that will overgrow in your small intestine, and it can feed on certain things, especially cruciferous vegetables. So I believe that I went through that during a certain period of time. Anytime I would have cruciferous vegetables, I would have very foul smelling gas, and I also had extreme brain fog. And so I was able to reverse that naturally just by avoiding foods. Anyway, we're not gonna get into that. If you want me to talk more about SIBO, put it down in the comments. I actually have a video on SIBO a little bit while back, so you can try to look for that as well, or I can link it in the description. But you can have things like that. You can also have H. pylori. So getting a gut test might be super helpful. You can get a stool test. You don't have to, but I would recommend it if you want to know exactly what's going on with your gut. But increasing stomach acid helps with a lot of things. And I keep telling people on my Instagram, this is like, Instagram has been where I'm telling you guys all of my secrets nowadays. I'm now the eczema coach on Instagram. And with that, I've been talking so much about eating bitter foods, and you guys keep being like, what are bitter foods? So you can take digestive bitters. You will get a dropper of them and you drop it into your water and you can drink that. That will actually increase stomach acid. Dandelion greens are a bitter food that's really, really great. Arugula is also bitter. Bitter melon is bitter. You can actually just look up bitter foods that increase stomach acid, and you can start to understand. But on top of all of that, you could have a salicylate intolerance or a histamine intolerance. Histamine is usually related to a DAO enzyme, a lack of the DAO enzyme, or your liver could be overworked and you could have a salicylate intolerance. And a lot of times when you're eating certain foods and your eczema is getting itchy right away, like let's say you had, for example, I would react to spinach, and that was actually from a salicylate intolerance. And so I started taking milk thistle and dandelion to get rid of the issues that I was having in my liver. There's a lot of different ways to support your liver. So this is kind of just a large overview video. All of your questions, feel free to comment them below and we can go into more detail. I just kind of want to spew and tell you guys a whole bunch of stuff about eczema in this video, and I have videos that dive deep into a lot of these subjects, so from here you can move forward. One random thing that I have written down is, I have written all these things down when you guys ask me questions on Instagram. So one question is ghee okay for eczema? I'm gonna expand that and talk about dairy and eczema. So is dairy okay for eczema? We have things like butter and ghee. So ghee is called clarified butter, and essentially it doesn't have the lactose in it. Yes, ghee is perfectly safe for eczema. If you can get goat ghee, that would be absolutely ideal. Goat butter is actually pretty well tolerated. However, I wouldn't have an abundance of very heavily fatty dairy. This can actually affect women's hormones and men's hormones. And for women specifically, if you have extreme hormone changes, it can cause candida. That's why a lot of us flare during that time of the month. Then you have goat kefir. Goat kefir is excellent. It actually helps detox the liver. I highly recommend you guys try goat kefir. It is a fermented drink, and you can use it as a yogurt or you can use it as a drink, but I absolutely love it for eczema. Then you have cheeses. I love raw sheep cheese, raw goat cheese in general. Try to get like grass-fed or organic if you can. I would stay away from cow-based dairy. There's a lot of things within cow-based dairy that I just don't think are that great for eczema. I would avoid milk, any sort of milk in general, and go for something a little bit more fermented, unless you have a histamine intolerance. A histamine intolerance, things that are fermented are actually higher in histamines. So if you have that histamine intolerance, go and take the beef kidney supplement so you can start to have these fermented dairy. If you have a histamine intolerance, I would avoid dairy. Dairy in general, I would avoid just for a small amount of time, whether it's 2 weeks to a month, to see if your body even tolerates it. A lot of times people can't even tolerate any sort of dairy at all. So let's just take it out of our diet, see how you fare with your eczema. Then you can add it back in, and I would add in either sheep or goat. Okay, I'm gonna answer one last question, which is, how do you manage your social life when you have eczema flares? I had to deal with this myself. I had to be social when my eczema was flaring, and I actually opted for just being honest. I was just like, hey, I actually have really severe eczema and it flares when I eat this. So I'm just gonna bring my own food, or I'm gonna order this on the menu because of that. Just set really good boundaries. I think boundary setting and being communicative is one of the best ways to deal with your social life when you have eczema flares. I would probably not drink. Drinking is not very good for eczema, especially when the liver is involved anyway, and a lot of us have an overworked liver. Instead, I would just be okay with what you can do. Drink water at a party, or don't drink at a party, just enjoy the time out. Funny enough, I actually found that partying, like getting your energy out and feeling good and being, like just releasing all that stress, is actually really great for preventing eczema. A lot of us during college did not have eczema, and a lot of times I don't recommend this when you have eczema flares, you need as much rest as possible, but when you're during a time when you don't have eczema and you are feeling stressed, go have fun. It is the coolest thing ever that it helps us so much, but that just shows how bad stress can affect us with eczema. All right, guys, I'm going to stop the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please drop any of your questions into the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video.
Yeah. Hey, Amaru. Only if you're ready. Let's go. Hey, I'm only looking for loyalty. All I need from you. I'm thinking you be the one for me. I can see it on you. Your love that do me every time. With you by my side, we gon' shine. Baby girl, you know you royalty. I've been waiting for you. Me no care about all the noise, but I'm digging your station. See how you got my head spinning with a body rotation. Couple of days went by, now I'm losing my patience. Go ahead, drop a pin, girl, wanna know your location. What's your location? Had to pull a plug on your ex, now you coming my way out. I can switch it up for you, girl, I'm no longer a player. See that pretty face on my screen, that'll make my day. I'm only looking for loyalty. All I need from you. I'm thinking you be the one for me. I can it on you. Your love they do me every time. With you by my side, we gon' shine. Baby girl, you know you royalty. I be